All right, looks like we have all the speakers on the panel. John and Becky, how's it going?
Going great. How are you, Nate?
Pretty good, pretty good. Ready to rock the spaces.
All
Hey Nate,
right.
what's going on?
Hey, John.
Good morning, Nate. This is Jack.
Hey, Jack. Great to have you.
Hey Jack,
Good morning, John. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
I'm recovering.
Oh yeah, man. How did that happen? Did it you guys get your electricity back pretty quick? So you were kind of on the north side of Houston in the aftermath of the Hurricane Beryl.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we were without anything for about 3 or 4 days. I came back on, then went off, a few times, but finally got it back solidly on Thursday. So we're getting back where we should be. Everything is working again, thank goodness. Went off Friday evening, and my message from my electricity and internet provider said it should be restored by today.
Oh
Thankfully,
my
they had it
God.
fixed way faster than that, but
What about water? Did you guys lose water?
we did not. That was a blessing. Had my son's family up here living with me because I at least have a generator, so we had power, so we could have air conditioning. So couldn't really do anything without internet because you stream everything. So my grandson was like, "I can't play video games." It's like, no, but you can't do that at home either, and your house is just hot. So you might as well relax and sit under the cool air.
What part of town were they in?
They're in Katy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's closer to where my parents and my wife's parents are. They're in Sugarland, my wife's parents, and they got kind of full force, brunt force of it. Fences down, trees down. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it was kind of insane up here as well. Most of Conroe was out through about Friday. There was like two or three gas stations that were open. They did finally get the grocery stores open on Thursday, but like nothing around them was working. Like my nearby HEB was open, but their gas station wasn't working, and all the other stores that were adjacent to them still had no power. So it was just like one of those very strange things. At least they got the grocery stores working so people could get food again, which was good. But it was one of those crazy things, and I felt terrible for all the grocery stores because everything that they had in the cooler sections, like in the refrigerator section and stuff, they had to throw all that away because it all got spoiled without power. So it was,
Yeah,
can't imagine what that cost them to have to replace all that.
crazy. Well, glad everybody's. We actually post. I think we were planning on doing this last week, but postponed it. So glad this was able to work out for everybody.
Yeah, sorry about the inability to be able to access anything last week. So
Yeah, how dare you, Jack? How dare you make that
yeah,
hurricane come and blow everybody's houses apart?
yeah, exactly. Craziness.
Well,
All
fantastic.
right. Well,
Yeah,
go
Becky,
ahead.
go ahead.
John, you want to kick us off? Well, I
No,
was
go
going to say,
ahead. Go
you want
ahead.
to
Kick
kick
us
us off?
off. Go ahead.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. I am going to be talking with our newest advisory board member, Mr. Jack Antonini. Jack and I kind of go way back because Jack was the CEO of NACUSO, which is the National Association of Credit Union Service Organizations. NACUSO is the acronym. And Jack was the CEO, and I have been on the board of NACUSO over the last 7 years. And I've been the chair of NACUSO for the last 2 years. And so Jack and I worked very closely together and have a passion for credit unions and CUSOs. And so we are thrilled to have you with us today, Jack.
Thank you, Becky. I appreciate that, and it's great to get to be working with you again.
It is. And if you'll recall, Jack and I have been working together for long enough to where he was kind of part of me meeting John and getting very engaged with the blockchain distributed ledger space, talking to him about all the things that I was doing with BankSocial. And so Jack has kind of been on the periphery of what I was doing with BankSocial from the very beginning. So that's going to be where I start. Jack, you have a fantastic and outstanding resume, but I'm going to talk a little bit about our NACUSO journey together first, and then I'll let you talk a little bit about your experience with payments and USAA. but I want to talk about your foray into credit unions. So, how did you first learn about credit unions and how did you get involved with NACUSO?
Basically, I was the CEO of an ATM business here in the Houston area called Cardtronics. Ultimately, we took that public, and right at the time of the last Great Recession in 2008. I think we were one of the last IPOs that actually got done, but we took it public. We grew from like seventh or eighth biggest in the country to the largest in the world. NCR ultimately acquired Cardtronics, but with Cardtronics, we set up a surcharge-free ATM network called Allpoint that we had about 55,000 machines in. And I met Sarah Kanipa Bang, who is currently the senior policy advisor for NCUA board member Hauptman, when she was running FSCC, which was the largest of the two shared branching systems in the credit union movement. She came to us basically because, well, actually, we acquired all the ATMs that 7-Eleven had, which included a couple of thousand advanced function machines that were kind of these very expensive prototypes that NCR had developed that could do virtually anything that a teller could do. And she was using those within the credit union network to be able to provide services for people. That anything that they could do at their local branch, they could do at one of these machines, which is pretty handy. So when we acquired it, I reached out to Sarah to say, hey, are these where you really would like them to be? Because when I talked to 7-Eleven folks, they kind of just randomly put them various places. And she said, no, actually, there's better locations that could help us serve a lot more members. And I said, well, let's figure out how to move them around, which was not an inexpensive proposition, but I wanted her to be able to really take care of her members. That was something that was important to me from my days when I was at USAA and ran USAA's banking operations. So we got to know each other, became good friends and everything. We also, because of having the Allpoint surcharge-free network, and we had the ATMs and lots of the major retailers that you could easily recognize, like the Walgreens, CVS, Target stores, etc. We at the when I went there, they weren't doing anything like that at Cardtronics. That was kind of my vision for the business when I joined it in 2003, but was to provide services to the financial services industry. By the time that I retired from there, after going public, we were serving 7 of the top 11 retailers in the nation, and or actually 8 of the top 11 retailers and 7 of the top 10 banks, providing services for them. So that put us into a good position. And the thing that I remembered from my time in banking was the thing that would make it easy to help members to find one of these machines that they could use for free is to say you could go to any Walgreens or any CVS or any Target store, any place like that, go to any Exxon Mobil in the state of Texas, et cetera. That would be an easy way to communicate. You didn't want to say you could go find one at this street corner. You want it to be, something broad and easy to understand. So that working together with Sarah also then led us to working with Co-op, which is now part of Valera. But they had the big surcharge-free ATM system. They didn't have full nationwide coverage, so they came to Cardtronics to be able to get ATMs in locations that they didn't already have coverage in. So we help provide surcharge-free ATM access for credit union members through Co-op, as well as through FSCC. And then we also allowed people to participate just by working with us directly and being a member of Allpoint and allowing their members to use any one of the 55,000 ATMs. So that was kind of my connection to credit unions in the beginning. And then when I retired, again, being a CEO of a public company, I had done that before, had taken a couple other companies public. It's a big pain in the butt. And I just didn't really want to go through all that with what we were going through at the time with the Great Recession and everything. So I retired. Sarah reached out to me. She's like, would you be willing to come and speak at the NACUSO conference? People would love to hear about USAA and what you did there. Very few people ever leave there and are willing to talk about their experience. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'd be happy to do that. So I went and spoke at the NACUSO conference. I think it was in 2010 out in Las Vegas. And that's how I got to meet NACUSO and get to meet people in the credit union world in a more direct basis, not just through Sarah with FSCC or through co-op. So that's kind of what got me started with the credit union world. And when NACUSO decided that they were looking for a CEO, since I had retired, and my wife was like, "You need to get out of the house and go do something and not just be at home. You're driving me crazy." I really enjoyed working with members when I was at USAA. And so I thought, well, if I can help credit unions and help them better serve their members, that would be something I would enjoy. So that's kind of how I ultimately came to be the CEO at NACUSO and try to help credit unions as much as what I was able to in the 13 years when I was at NACUSO.
Awesome. I think one of the things that a lot of people might not realize, what you talked about earlier, Jack, was the All Point network, and then there was the Co-op network as well, and now they're kind of combined together. But a lot of credit unions participate in that network where their members have access to 55,000 ATMs across the country. A lot of times people join a big bank like a Chase or Bank of America because of how many ATMs they have, but a lot of people don't realize that most credit unions do participate in the Co-op or All Point network. And so you do have the availability to have more ATMs probably than Chase even has by being a member of a credit union.
That's absolutely true.
Right. So, talk a little bit about some of the work you did at NACUSO, particularly as it relates to advocacy. Tell us a little bit about one of the wins or a positive story that you felt that NACUSO had a positive impact on the industry from a regulatory perspective dealing with the NCUA.
Well, there were several different things, but I guess the one I was most proud of, honestly, was when NCUA first came out with their proposal for risk-based capital requirements. And one of the things that they had in there was a 250% risk weighting, which was the highest that they assessed against anything for investments in QSOs. And that made no sense whatsoever because QSOs were not high risk investments. And when we met with Chairman Matz and her senior team, I asked the question, how on earth did you come up with a 250% risk weighting? And so she asked their general counsel, how did they come up with that? The general counsel at the time said, well, we basically looked at, what the banks had to do under the Basel Accord. And, banks could have up to 600% risk weighting on investments that they made and companies that they invested in. And so we gave you guys a huge break by only putting it to 250% for QSOs. I said, well, I was the CFO of a bank for many, many years. I did those calculations, and never once did we have any investments that were ever in those risk weightings. If you would be so kind as to share exactly what you're looking at, I would love to dig into that a little bit. So I went back to the general counsel that we had worked with, which the individual actually worked in Washington, D.C., and he ran the banking practice for Sidley Austin, which was the largest law firm in the world, I think. But he was the person that I had gotten to know and worked with over the years, and I was the CEO at USAA's bank, and we had done a lot of things together. So I reached out to Bill and asked him. I said, "Look, this is what NCUA came up with." I said, "I really don't see." This fitting for QSOs. I said, I think that what's most comparable for QSOs are bank service corporations. And he said, yes, you're absolutely right. He said that would be a comparable thing to a QSO because he ran the financial services practice, for all of Sidley Austin. And he said the thing with a bank service corporation, there's no separate risk weighting for capital for those because they only are wholly consolidated for the bank. They don't get to work with other banks because of antitrust issues. And so there's only 100% risk weighting on those. I said, would you be willing to put that into a letter for us? And he said, oh, yeah, no problem. That's very easy. So he put a letter together very quickly, sent it to me. I took it to the NCUA, shared it with Chairman Matz and the rest of the senior team there. And she thanked me. She said, you know what? We didn't know this. We didn't understand the banking side of things well enough. We really appreciate you, helping to make us aware that we had looked at the wrong thing. And what it really was there were things that banks could is for risk weightings for banks anywhere in the world. It was something that all the major countries in the world had agreed to, not just the United States. And so in other countries, especially, their banks were allowed to do things like investing in the equivalent of venture capital investments or even angel investments. So those were investments they would never get any money back unless the company was highly successful and they were able to ultimately sell it to an investor down the road. That would be the only time that they would ever get that capital back. So that capital truly was a high risk investment. And therefore, that's why they had 400 and 600% risk weightings on those, because most times, honestly, those businesses would fail. They didn't become successful where they could sell them on to somebody else. So once we were able to explain all that to the NCUA, they reduced the risk-based capital requirement to 100%. That was a huge win because we really felt that a 250% capital risk weighting for the credit union industry would have really caused a significant decline in investment in QSOs, and the creative kind of solution kind of work that was done within QSOs, because most credit unions don't have the capital or the wherewithal or even the expertise to be able to go out and develop things like, things like what you guys are doing at BankSocial, to be able to help credit unions stay up with and even ahead in some cases of where things are going in the marketplace. So where they can share that investment through a QSO and jointly own that with other credit unions, so that's not just a single credit union taking all that risk, but it's now shared among multiple credit unions, that significantly increases the likelihood of success, decreases the capital risk and the risk to members that own the credit union by sharing that responsibility and that expertise through the QSO. So having the lower risk weighting was something that we felt was very, very important for credit unions to be able to continue to innovate, to develop new solutions, to stay at the forefront of developing things that members would want and that were necessary to be able to keep up with kind of the world as it keeps changing and as new technology keeps changing. So that we felt was a really important win for us, and that was something that neither the CUNA or NAFQ folks had any insight into or had any involvement with. That was something that NACUSO did purely because we had the insight and understanding of what the risk weighting was for banks because of my past banking experience, honestly, and reaching out to the right folks that could help us to be able to explain that, and had the credibility, with the NCUA as outside general counsel at Sidley Austin, to be able to, take that to them. And to their credit, Chairman Matz immediately said, "You know what? We made a mistake. We didn't understand it. We were working in a vacuum, without any experience, and so they changed that for us. And the whole industry benefited when it dropped it to 100%."
That's awesome. And Jack, because of his work at NACUSO, was actually inducted into the Credit Union Hall of Fame, the Credit Union Museum, actually, in New Hampshire, I believe it is. And he uh, has his own exhibit there, or his own place in an exhibit at the Credit Union Museum in New Hampshire, which is pretty cool. So, speaking of regulation, Jack, I'm going to ask this final question, then we're going to open it up to the community who might have some questions for you. Speaking of regulation, NCUA back in 2021 was and still is the only regulator that has issued positive clarifying guidance around distributed ledger technology. Back in 2021, they came out with some clarifying guidance that told credit unions to do your due diligence, but don't be afraid to utilize emerging technology if that is what it means to best help your members. None of the other banking regulators, the FDIC, the Fed, or the OCC, has released clarifying positive guidance as it relates to emerging technology, specifically DLT. And because of that, credit unions are kind of at the forefront of adopting this technology, whereas banks have held off a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about why that was important and what you see for the future of credit unions as it relates to this emerging technology?
Well, I have to give credit to, some of the NCUA board members that, were forward looking. You look at Rodney Hood, who was chairman of NCUA board for a while, and a board member once uh, uh, Todd Harper was appointed chairman, and with Hauptman on the board. These are folks that were very forward-looking. They understood the need for credit unions to be able to really take care of their members and to help protect members against the kind of things that happen in the financial world out there. The threats that are out there, the hacking, the identity theft, other things like that that can put members' financial assets at risk. They understood that in order to be able to protect members, you needed to be at the leading edge of kind of developing new things like distributed ledger technology, leveraging these technologies to come up with better, stronger, safer solutions for members. And so they took the initiative to understand that and provide some guidance and help credit unions to realize that, okay, this isn't something to be afraid of, it's something to embrace and work with organizations, particularly CUSOs, folks like BankSocial, things like what John Ainsworth was doing, to be able to bring, good, strong solutions to the industry that would help them protect their members and kind of help take you into the new technologies that are being developed, to be able to really help members in kind of their pursuit of new solutions and better ways to be able to do things that they want to do. So I was very impressed that they were willing to do that, to address it, and just recognize the need that they're part of their goal. And again, NCUA is unique in this because they have responsibility for the share insurance fund for all the credit unions, as well as overseeing the regulations and compliance and things like that within credit unions. So with that dual role, I think that kind of emboldened them, to feel that it was right to reach out and take the initiative and make sure that credit unions were really thinking of the future and taking action to be able to protect members and protect member assets. Because recognizing cybersecurity was going to be an issue and that would be something that ultimately would affect all financial institutions. They were kind of at the leading edge, like you said, of actually reaching out and taking the initiative to address this and encourage credit unions to do a deal with it as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. We are just so thrilled to have somebody with your background and experience and love and passion for credit unions and CUSOs on our advisory board. All right, I'm going to open it back up, hand it back over to Nate and Anthony to bring up some folks from the community to ask you some questions. Jack?
All right. Thank you for that, Becky. Yeah, if anyone has any questions for Jack, feel free to request the mic and we'll bring you up here. You can also write in the BankSocial Telegram if you prefer that way.
Okay, until somebody requests to come up, Jack, do you, when you first heard about BankSocial and we asked you to become an advisory board member, can you tell us what most excited you about what we're doing?
Yeah, honestly, the fact that you were developing a whole series of new technologies to be able to help credit unions. So many credit unions are really stuck with their core systems that are legacy systems that are very antiquated, that are very difficult to change, and that have limited their options in terms of things that they can do to better serve their members. I was very excited with the fact that you guys were taking the initiative to really develop a whole suite of solutions to be able to help credit unions, and leveraging the distributed ledger technology to be able to do that in a way that would provide tremendous security and protection for members. So to me, the fact that you guys were really taking, kind of an advanced look at things and developing real solutions that would help credit unions to go beyond the limitations of their legacy systems that really hamstring everybody. To me, that was very, very exciting. So that just got me really enthused about being able to help in any way that I could.
That's awesome, Jack. Thank you for that. So it looks like Kranthi is requesting the mic. Kranthi, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. Good to hear from all of you folks again.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate you coming up on the panel. What's up?
Good. So, Jack, given your experience in this industry, I was curious to understand as BankSocial rolls out their technology roadmap. what are the risks that we should anticipate or the team should anticipate in terms of onboarding new credit unions or credit unions onto the platform? It could be people, process, or other risks, right? Like and what would your advice be to the team?
Um, I have to be honest, I haven't really seen the full roadmap and everything yet since I'm new. But the challenges traditionally are, getting your arms around how you're going to convert from one technology to another, making sure that that's done well, that you don't drop the ball for members, and that you don't have members' inability to be able to access their accounts or be able to continue to do the things that they need to do with their accounts. So to me, being able to test that out, being able to maybe run in parallel for a short period of time, that shows that it works, gives uh, make sure that their employees understand the new technology, how it works, how to be able to answer members' questions. Make sure that everybody really understands it before you start really rolling it out with members. And even then, once you begin a member rollout, ideally, to me, if you could get a group of members within your credit union that are willing to, maybe do sort of a beta test with you and try out the new system and be willing to work with it work with you on it for a little while. That's a great way to check it all out, make sure that everything works smoothly, see what kind of natural questions that members are going to have, those types of things, so that you've got a chance to really test it all out. Make sure that you're well prepared at the time that you actually do the switch to the new technology. So to me, it's that kind of a process, just making sure that you've got the right kind of plan in place, so that you're well prepared, that your people are going to understand it, that your members get a chance to understand it, that you've explained it well, that you know how it's going to work, and that you're prepared once you start rolling it out in a systematic way, that you're ready to be able to handle questions and everything that are naturally going to come up. I mean, that's just natural. Whenever you try something new, there's going to be something that maybe somebody hasn't thought of, or that they were going to need somebody to help them walk through how you do that. And having a good plan in place to test things out, try it, before you actually fully implement, to me, that's kind of the right approach.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure John and team have thought through the technology angles. Any cultural issues from that you could see that could become an impediment for adoption?
I mean, it depends upon each individual credit union, because cultures are different everywhere, depending upon the leaders and the backgrounds and experience and all at the different credit unions. Is truly an innovator, and the fact that they're going to want to do something like this means that they're going to be innovative, and they're probably going to have a culture that embraces change and is willing to, take on some of the challenges that change naturally, entails. I think that you're going to have the right kind of mindset and the right attitude toward working together. I think it's just, again, testing it out, making sure that people understand, giving everybody a chance to know what to expect, how to handle questions that come up from members, things like that is the one thing that you just want to think about and make sure that you're prepared for.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack. Those are my questions, Anthony. I'm good.
Awesome questions, Kranti. Appreciate that. So Anthony, I can't see requests currently, so just let me know if anyone requests. But Jack, 2 questions from our Telegram group. First, with your previous experience in ATMs, do you think there is a future in crypto payments and ATMs?
I do, actually, because the it gives you the ability to be able to know for sure who you're dealing with, because of your ability to use authentication basically at the ATM, where they can identify themselves, they can enter their PIN, you can send them a special code to be sure that they are who they say that they are. It allows you to be able to do things at the ATM that allows an ATM to be a stand-in. It allows you to be able to, be the in-person connection, and when that is required. A lot of times it's not going to be, but if you need that, the ATM is a great place to be able to make that happen, and in a relatively low-cost way. everybody's got this little computer that's a communication device in their hand, so when you're standing in front of an ATM, it's pretty easy, if you want to, make an investment, you want to make a payment, whatever it is that you want to do, you can do that in a secure way. And the ATMs have been uh, enhanced to the point where that additional, multi-factor authentication is enabled and possible, that allows people to be able to do things at an ATM, just like what you would do in a branch office or in any other kind of an in-person space. A little bit more limited, but it's still a pretty handy way to be able to get things done, and in a low-cost way. And you've got a large network of ATMs that can make it convenient for people no matter where they're located. So that's one of the things that's nice about it. I've been working with a company that has insurance agents in 49 of the 50 states, and they have people that are policyholders that are literally located all across the country. And one of the challenges that they have is that they have policyholders that want to only pay in cash. That you got all various levels of financial sophistication basically among policyholders, but for them to have a policyholder come into an agency and pay cash increases risk for cash to be sitting at the agency, for that cash to be accumulated and taken to a credit union or a bank to be deposited, and then for it to be all centrally back relocated. You can actually do that through an ATM, through the code that I'm talking about, where you can then have that be applied, gathered up electronically, and deposited into the insurance company's account every single day, no matter how many payments are made across the country through thousands of ATM machines. So the ATMs have come a long ways in terms of what they can do at an ATM. So I do see ATMs as a potential tool that can be used to be able to help us as we're looking at more advanced technologies and ways to be able to help members as they're working in the future.
Totally agree. All right, great question. So one more question for you, Jack, and definitely appreciate your time. Do you see Bank Social as a means for credit unions to break into untapped markets? And then maybe you could also talk about what those untapped markets might be, whether it's geographies and so on.
I do, because honestly, it's there's going to be a lot of people that really like the technology that Bank Social is able to bring to the marketplace. That they're going to tend to be young, are going to want to be able to find ways that they can leverage this new technology. And so if a credit union is able to embrace what Bank Social is doing and embrace the solutions that Bank Social is bringing to them, that will enable them to be able to open up and be able to serve a much larger member base, folks that they might not otherwise be able to attract, and they allow them to be able to be out there helping more people. So to me, it does provide opportunity for credit unions to be able to reach out, connect with, and help more members, not only of their existing members, but potential new members. That's exciting because, that's something that people are looking for. And the other nice thing about it is that, when people understand credit unions and how credit unions are owned by their members, their loyalty is to the member. They want to safeguard and protect the member. They want to provide them excellent solutions. They want to make sure that they can do what they want to do. And they're not driven by a profit motive for shareholders. They're driven by what they can do to be able to help their members. I think that's going to really excite a lot of people that want to leverage the new technologies and want to leverage the new things that you can do through distributed ledger technology. That's going to be a kind of a marriage made in heaven in my mind, because credit unions are the perfect vehicle to be able to serve this younger member group that says, what, this is really the perfect financial institution for me. They really can help me meet my needs. I can have the diverse kind of base of investments and other types of solutions that I'm looking for, and they're going to really watch out for me and take care of me and protect me. This is a really wonderful solution. So I really do see it as a great possibility for both credit unions and helping credit unions to really help their existing as well as new members. So yeah, I think it's got a tremendous potential, and I'm excited about being a part of it. That's one of the things that I like to do, is to help members, help other people, and I love to help businesses to grow. And I think BankSocial's got a huge future, and I'm excited about the organizations that they're going to be able to help and the individuals they're going to be able to help.
Well, we're certainly excited to have you too. I can relate to that story strongly. I'm someone that's native to the crypto space, not necessarily the credit union space. And just getting to learn about credit unions and participate in working with credit unions. Now I'm a credit union advocate as well. And I think that a lot of people in the crypto space are starting to really relate to that and become part of credit unions as well. So thank you so much, Jack. Definitely appreciate your time. I'm going to send it to Becky for some closing remarks, and then we'll send it to you, Jack, for some closing remarks, and then I will close out the space. So over to you, Becky.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We are thrilled to have Jack on our advisory board to help guide us as we continue to grow and expand and help more people. Thank you so much, Jack, for coming. Do you have any closing remarks?
No, I'm just thrilled to be able to be a part of this. I thank you for inviting me to join you guys. I look forward to working together and helping to be a part of the solutions that y'all are developing. I'm excited about it, and I think that crypto has a tremendous future in America, and with the people that are wanting to leverage it and utilize it, and the fact that we can help them along the way, to me means a lot. So being able to be a part of that is exciting to me, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys.
Right on. Jack, what's the best way that people can follow you?
I'm I've not been active, but I am going to be more active here on X. I'm on LinkedIn as well, so you can follow me there. Again, I've not been overly active recently after retiring from NICU, so I just kind of took a little time off, spent time with my grandkids and visited family and things like that. But I will be much more active and participating through both of those channels and any others that Becky or John may introduce me to. So those are the two that I would say right now are the easiest ways to follow me. But I'm sure that there'll be more as I learn more about other options.
All right. Well, sounds good. Definitely, everyone, go give Jack a follow on X and LinkedIn. Welcome back. Definitely a fun and always interesting time on social media. So great to have you. Well, thank you, everyone, so much for coming in. Always appreciate the community. We will be doing more of these Spaces events in the future. So look forward to talking with you all soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.